Okay, so we've got the Vivo V23e here in our office, and this means that we are going to expect a new V series lineup from Vivo really soon. And as with typical Vivo fashion, they usually come up with an E model first before coming out the main highlight model of the V series, because the E model is usually like an entry-level model of the V series. So without further ado, we are going to unbox this device and take a look what's inside, and I'll share with you my first impressions of the phone as we move along. We've added a whole lot of things to Good Deals by KLGG, such as bags, smart locks, audio gear, and more. Shop now and check out with Atomi, and IOU pay 0% installment from 50 ringgit and get 10 ringgit off your first purchase with minimum 100 ringgit spent. Visit Good Deals by KLGG in the link below. Alright, as you can see here, the box has a really nice sandstone finishing right here that I really like, that makes it feel a little premium despite being a mid-range device. So it has this Vivo V23e word here right over here, and to differentiate between the 4G and 5G model, you will need to take a look at the bottom text right over here that says 5G. Alright, let's get into the unboxing. So here we go, comes up pretty easily. Alright, so there we go. Starting with the phone, which we're going to put it aside and check out the rest of the contents here. So we have manuals, TPU case, which is always nice because some other phones don't give TPU cases these days. And we got earphones, a USB cable, USB-C cable, and a 44-watt fast charger. Yep, this is one of the selling points of the Vivo V23, and I love the fact that Vivo is starting to pack these really fast chargers in their mid-range phones these days. All right, so we also have a SIM ejector, and finally a dongle. All right, so this means that the V23e doesn't have a headphone jack, but Vivo is kind enough to provide a USB-C to 3.5mm dongle here. So it's really great of them to actually provide that. Right, let's put all these things aside and let's take a look at the phone. All right, so the phone that I received here is the Moonlight Shadow color, and as you can see, it comes with this glossy mirror back here. This is obviously plastic because it's a mid-range phone, but you know what, this is a pretty nice mirror. You can see it reflects pretty well. I'm sure you can see our videographer Bell right behind there. So this is one of the kind of surfaces that personally I don't really prefer, because it really gets a lot of fingerprints when you're using it, but since you snap on the case anyway, you are pretty much going to forget about it. And even if you manage to step on the case, the reflection still kind of works, so it's actually pretty cool. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the hardware. All right, so the V23e 5G is powered by a MediaTek Dimensity 810 5G chipset, along with 8GB of RAM and 128GB of storage. It has a 4050 mAh battery, which is pretty respectable for such a slim and small phone, and it supports the 44 fast charge from Vivo, which is actually pretty nice. All right, in terms of the hardware, it's a very slim phone, as you can see right here. So it has this plastic frame running around the phone, and it separates between the case and the screen. So this is one kind of affordable way of manufacturing phones, but it actually feels pretty nice on hand, and I'm actually liking it. So the overall phone aesthetic feels really lightweight, and I like the weight distribution of this. It doesn't feel too heavy on the other side or so on, unlike some other mid-range phones and huge screen phones that I've actually experienced. So there you go, this is the Vivo V23e 5G booted up. I've already set up everything prior to this unboxing. So what you're seeing here is a really nice 6.44-inch Full HD AMOLED display. It looks really nice, but one thing I hope Vivo will really stop doing is that dewdrop notch on top, because it really feels so dated. You know, when you have this on a phone that's above 1,000 ringgit, they should really just come with a punch hole cutout like, you know, the Xiaomi Redmi's and all that. But the thing is that having a dewdrop notch feels pretty dated in 2021, and somehow we're already moving into 2022. Okay, so as you can see, the bezels here are still a little thick, but still manageable. It's a mid-range phone, so you're gonna expect that. All right, so it comes with Android 11 with FunTouch OS 12 preloaded on top. So it's the usual Vivo interface that we have got accustomed to on other Vivo phones. So this is a 60Hz display anyway, which is another underwhelming feature, but you know what, it's a mid-range phone, so you don't really expect a 90Hz or 120Hz display on this. But I really wish Vivo would step up with the game, especially with the E model of their V series, because to make it more compelling for people to purchase their mid-range phones. All right, so in terms of the cameras, now this is one thing that the V23e really sells, because the V series has always been about its cameras. Sometimes, they even make it even more flashy than their flagship phones, and I sometimes really like their V series phones for that. As for the V23e, what it is trying to sell here is obviously its main cameras. All right, so Vivo says that the main camera can take up to 64 megapixel of pictures, but to be honest, this is actually just a 50 megapixel lens. Whether it goes up to 64 megapixels by doing software or some other tricks, I'm not sure about that, but you can take pretty nice photos with this camera. All right, and it comes with a 8 megapixel ultra wide camera as well, and a 2 megapixel macro lens. And on the front here, you are getting a really high resolution selfie camera, which is what the V series always sells. High resolution front camera, so you can take those super sharp selfies and print those selfies on a billboard if you can actually afford to. So I'm gonna test the camera now. I'm actually on the front camera right now. And if I take a picture right now, there you go. So let's take a look at the photo. All right, apparently it looks really sharp. With, of course, I turned off beautify effects, so you can definitely see the imperfections of my face right over here. But you know what? The selfie quality is really good. In fact, it's better than some more expensive phones that I've tested out right there. So yep, this is definitely something to look forward to if you are thinking to buy a new phone for selfies. All right, so one thing that Vivo has actually teased about the V23e is that it also comes with eye autofocus, which is kind of a first for a mid-range phone, because not many mid-range phones actually focus on that. Usually they have those high resolution cameras and macro lenses and whatever, but they do not have this feature called eye autofocus, which is actually pretty useful if you're taking a Wi-Fi. Now imagine if you have a group of people taking photos. Now usually you are the one that looks the clearest in the picture, but not the rest. And the Vivo V23e aims to solve that problem, as you can see on the picture right now. As you can see, we are taking a group photo, and you know what? Every people's eyes is actually focused, and that's a really great feature of the V23 if you're taking groupies very often with your phone. All right, so I have no pricing details about the Vivo V23e yet, because we are still shooting this ahead of the launch here, but I'm sure it will be priced slightly above the Y76 5G that we recently reviewed, which could be around the range of 1,399 ringgit or 1,499 ringgit. But let's keep it like this as for now. We'll update it in the description or in the comments if we get the pricing details already. But as for now, my first impressions of this phone is pretty good. It's a pretty lightweight phone, and I like the screen, I like the overall design. So yeah, that's pretty much about my first impressions of the V23e 5G in today's video. So stay tuned for the review coming right up on the channel. Stay subscribed and definitely follow us on the usual social media. I'm Warren, and I will see you guys in our next video.